Saudi Arabian Food and Drug Authority has approved the importation of meat and meat products from South Africa. This comes after inspections carried out in June this year by SAFDA. The authority looked at South African abattoirs and feedlots for compliance in terms of market access protocols and halal certification into the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. The approval is a direct outcome of the state visit by President Ramaphosa to the Saudi Kingdom in October last year. The Saudi market is valued at over $5 billion. We speak to Roelie van Reenen, supply chain executive at the Beefmaster Group. Roelie, thank you so much for speaking to us. I think we touched on the issue perhaps a month or two ago when we spoke on this program. What does this decision by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia now to lift the ban mean for South Africa's beef industry?
Well, I think it's a very big positive for the South African beef industry, but even bigger positive for the South African economy. We, as South African industry role players, or on the primary side, we have produced ourselves out of a market. We produce too much beef. We need market access to exports. And that is the great news for the South African economy, is that we can get that influx of foreign capital into this country.
So the decision is one thing, but now there needs to be a couple of next steps before the meat can actually move over there. What needs to happen?
Well, we need to understand what is their regulations, if you want to use that word. We use the word, we need to see that what the health certificates look like. That's basically a document that says, under these conditions, if you comply to certain protocols, we will take the product if you can guarantee it that it does comply to these standards and also criteria. And that needs to be signed off every shipment by our local veterinarians, and not just actually the state veterinarians. So it's a very collaborative process to see to it that these products adhere to what the importing country wants. And we're still waiting to see what that is. And that could be either very difficult, it could be not so difficult. We've seen a lot of that in the past, but we look forward to it, and as this is an extremely positive opportunity for this country.
South Africa is seen as a producer of very good quality red meat. So, no doubt we export to many other countries already. Do you think the lift of the ban is going to place stringent demands on producers, on abattoirs, on feedlots to meet those criteria? Or do you think we're pretty much geared to meet those criteria already, and that there might just be some red tape?
Well, I think your question deserves two answers. The quick answer is yes, it'll just be some red tape that we need to get through. As per the product, we in South Africa have a very unique product due to the grading system that we use. That makes our product different to what other role players in the world, like the United States or Australia, do produce, who are some of the bigger producers. And also I need to include Brazil, because their product is again a bit different. Our product lies in between those. Like in some of the Middle Eastern countries, they refer to it as a type of rosé veal. It's slightly pinker, it's less fatty. They seem to think that there's certain health benefits to that. Our product is different and niche, and that is an excellent market to be in.
What does this mean for the beef export opportunity for South Africa in value terms? In that introduction, we said that the Saudi market is valued at over $5 billion. Is that, surely that, they import from other countries as well? What fraction of that, or what portion of that can we hope to access in South Africa?
Only I honestly can't answer. I haven't stress-tested the $5 billion question on that one. I just know that Saudi is very much investing into their own country, the building of cities. We're looking at all those infrastructure they're putting in place to have that growth and to have agricultural growth. They are advertising in the world for people to come and live in Saudi and assist them with that process. That says to me, we're looking at an economy that's going to grow through numbers, through people, and with an influx of people, and also people earning more money. It could be more than $5 billion. I don't know. What our take on that is, I'm not really sure. But I hope it's substantial. In October last year, after our visit with the Honourable President Ramaphosa, We said we would like to reach 1,000 tons in the first year. I hope that is possible, and if we get those orders and if we can exceed that, that'll be even more preferable. Thank you.
What does it mean for consumers in South Africa? Because, for people watching at home, should they be worried that beef prices are going to increase because we're exporting, that there will be less available supply in the local market?
Currently, we're sitting with an excess of product in this country. The big problem, we have to understand that, that we do have a carcass, and that carcass is composed of different cuts. And as certain cuts do not have a market in South Africa that is most probably as good as certain other countries, we focus on exporting the product that we don't have a market for locally. So we won't see necessarily too much of an increase in price in South Africa. We will see that the South African producers and primary producers will receive a better value for the product that they are producing as the balance of the different cuts is improved, which means essentially that we are exporting cuts that are not that sought after in South Africa.
You talked about the quality or the grading of our meat here, and that the people in Saudi, that they see it as a leaner meat, pink, not quite as fatty. Is there a bigger market for that kind of meat given the health concerns globally? And are we looking to expand other markets as well besides the Saudi Arabian market?
Of course, there is more markets. South Africa is a fairly new entrant into the international scene, given I think we've only been exporting since about 2012, also due to foot and mouth restrictions. So our product is fairly new on the world scene compared to other bigger role players, with their product being so different. So we can put on the table a product, again, that is different, but we have to get those consumers to learn to love it or to enjoy it or to see it as a niche that it is. And also, it is also priced differently towards some of the more expensive to produce product that is available from the world. Just a comment there that, in South Africa, we do not value the fat on the carcass that much, but the fat is the most expensive part to produce, and that's why the US and Australian product is so much more expensive than ours. It's just so much more expensive to actually produce that. And that's what makes our product a little bit different. It is that, one, it's very competitive on price, and also it gives a leaner product, and the animal that we process is actually younger than most of the other world do. And that makes it a slightly different pinker color, and it's slightly more tender. It's a unique product compared to the rest of the world.
Really, I have to ask you this question before we go, because we know that once those supply contracts have been signed and there's an expectation for certain amounts to be sent over according to those offtake agreements, that needs to be honored. And we have had a problem with foot and mouth over the last couple of years. We have seen biosecurity measures stringently applied, and the Department of Agriculture working incredibly hard to try and make sure that we can contain outbreaks as and when they occur to limit the impact on the industry. Do you think our biosecurity will stand the test of time should we have these international export contracts and an outbreak occurs? Are we strong enough to withstand it?
I think we are. Look, we've learned a great deal and a few hard lessons in the last couple of years or months. As an industry, we have to pull together and understand that this biosecurity is not the responsibility of the government alone. It is as much our responsibility to adhere to the current laws and regulations in place to see to it that we do not spread diseases. It's very easy to do that. And as an industry, we have now learned the lessons, and we've paid the price that if we don't work together with government and see to it that biosecurity remains one of our top and utmost, maybe just second to food security or food safety for people, it is incredibly important that we maintain biosecurity standards which has got the country clean again, or fairly clean, and has stopped the spread of this disease. That is very important.
Thank you so much for your insights. Roelie van Reenen from the Beefmaster Group. Certainly absolutely excellent news for cattle farmers all across South Africa.